Hi, I'm Rob Parker from Nuclear for Climate Australia, and in this brief video, I'll outline our plans for the best electrical energy system to power Australia for the next century. It combines our existing wind and solar resources with 17 large nuclear power plants and 3 small ones to give us 25 gigawatts of nuclear power, costing around $230 billion, inclusive of grid upgrades, and that's through to about 2060. It works so well for 3 main reasons. Firstly, it blends wind, solar, and nuclear to create a system that costs 50% less than a reliance on total wind and solar. Secondly, it has ultra-low carbon emissions, on a par with those produced in France, and reaches those targets far more quickly than wind and solar alone can ever achieve. And thirdly, the environmental footprint of nuclear is minuscule. The nuclear generation system relies on up to 9 sites on the national grid, primarily on coastal locations, to give us 60% of our future electrical needs. And so I'll expand on our first point. Yes, wind and solar are our cheapest form of generation at the farm gate, but that's where their cost benefit stops, stone dead. After that, their energy will be fed into 10,000 kilometres of new transmission lines, and then goes through batteries and other storage devices, such as the laughably expensive Snowy Hydro 2. Already, network charges are the highest part of our electricity bills, and we're going to see these more than double with the rollout of wind, solar, and storage as they find the cost of those through to our bills. A system that excludes nuclear has huge amounts of underperforming resources. Not only do we pay for more poles and wires, but that run for a lot longer, much longer distances, but are also less efficient. But we also pay for gas backup and all the batteries and pump storage devices along the way, and the overbuild of wind and solar as it tries to defeat the laws of diminishing returns. By adding nuclear, we can reduce those future costs by 50%. And now to our second point, that of carbon emissions reduction. After all, reducing emissions is the aim of this energy transition. No nation has ever achieved ultra-low emissions with wind and solar. Spain, which is the pin-up child of this transition, well, they're sitting on 56% wind and solar, but they've still got an emissions intensity of about 270 grams of carbon dioxide per kilowatt hour. And look what happened last year, where the entire electrical energy system on the Iberian Peninsula failed spectacularly, caused by solar energy. We are currently in Australia on 46% of wind and solar, but we've still got emissions up around 670 grams of carbon dioxide. We're not doing very well. France, with its 75% nuclear, on the other hand, has emissions down around 50 grams of carbon dioxide, and the difference is stark. And together with Ontario and Sweden, they point the way to the successful implementation of a low-carbon grid. With our government throwing in the towel on emissions reductions by supporting gas over nuclear, we will never achieve a low-carbon grid. Thirdly, we have the massive environmental and social costs caused by wind and solar. I do not use the term renewables because wind and solar are certainly not renewable. It's a marketing term. By including 60% nuclear into our grid, we can reduce the use of non-renewable materials in our electricity supply by about 80% compared to a full reliance on wind and solar. The inclusion of nuclear power plants will stop habitat loss and the destruction of valuable agricultural land and the loss of the visual amenity that's prized by Australians. We can also get rid of the damage to rural communities, the ties combine, if you like, who are being divided by those who are bribed into taking the soup, as the Irish call it, compared to those who want to continue to protect the land. So in future videos, I'll expand on our plan to build the 25 gigawatts of new nuclear power plants. We'll look at sites, we'll look at grid connections, we'll look at cooling those plants. We'll also discuss things such as project delivery, nuclear waste strategies, and the massive shot in the arm that a nuclear project or program can provide to the regional industrial areas of Australia. So thanks for listening, and we'll talk again soon.